Jonas was a poor, 11-year-old, miserable orphan whose parents were killed when a high-tech fighter jet bombed the shit out of them. And because his combat skills far surpassed the dipshit adults around him, he was forced to become a child soldier. His legendary abilities earned him a reputation as a prodigy in the art of war. But deep down, Jonas hated fighting and everyone involved in the weapons industry, so driven by a desire for revenge, this hypocritical incel takes up arms and begins working as a soldier. Currently, he has just got his first big break to work under an arms dealer called Coco. This woman with the complexion of my special milk drags Jonas along as she takes him to meet the rest of her team full of weirdos. Coco gives Jonas a gun as she tells him that there is an urgent mission on their hands, which is going to also act as his entrance test to their team. She barges into a room where her team of losers is sitting and introduces Jonas to them. Everyone in the team is taken aback by the intense look in Jonas's eyes, but Coco tells them to stop being such sisses. She then asks the four-eyed nerd to update Jonas about the situation. The nerd states that a container with advanced fighter jet parts is being held at the port by some mercenaries, and the government wants Coco's team to retrieve it. Coco asks Jonas if he can do it, and he tells her that he doesn't give a shit about the government or the container. All he wants to know is about the unlucky losers he is going to shoot. With that, Coco orders two of her trusted teammates to come as backups, while she drives Jonas herself. She gets a call from the leader of the mercenaries, who tells her that if the container falls into the hands of the government, they will most probably go to war with their neighbors, so he is not going to let that happen. Coco tells him that there is no better thing than a war for weapon dealers like her and cuts the call. After that, she starts making small talk with Jonas, but he is not interested in her. Coco says that she has done her research and knows that Jonas hates weapons, but he still doesn't respond because he doesn't like talking. Soon, he notices some people following them and asks her how they deal with them. Coco tells him that they shoot first and kill them in one blow. Just as Jonas hears this, he climbs out of the sunroof and begins giving the taste of freedom to the pursuers, taking out their cars one by one. Coco tells him to at least give her a warning because she almost peed her pants when he suddenly started shooting. He tells her that these men were just the scouts, and the real enemy is about to come soon. The fight continues till late in the evening, and even the backup team has to face some enemies in a bulletproof van, since their guns are not doing anything and Coco is in danger. The eye-patch chick decides to get close and do things the old-fashioned way with a blade. Meanwhile, Jonas is still firing at the chasers when he suddenly warns Coco that someone is coming from their left. She moves out of the way just in time as the armored van passes next to them. The mercenaries keep attacking them, but then the backup team reaches next to them, and the eye-patch girl sneaks through the opening in the van to kill everyone inside. With that, Coco thinks that the pursuers are finally dealt with, but Jonas notices that one car is still following them. A soldier comes out with a rocket launcher, but with his quick thinking, Jonas unpins a grenade and times it so that its explosion would offset the direction of the missile. The missile hits a nearby car, and a bunny toy is tossed towards Jonas, who is pleased to receive it. Coco tells him to stop acting like a kid now, because it will take around 20 seconds for the enemy to reload. Jonas tells her not to worry about it and starts firing again. Just as the soldier with the rocket launcher comes out, Jonas headshots him, causing his rocket to blow up his car instead. With that, the mercenary decides to call back the rest of his troops, and Jonas and Coco succeed in their mission. After that, Coco leads Jonas to the shipment, while saying that even though he hates guns, he has no other option but to use them to get his revenge. She tells him that if he kills her and crosses one name on his kill list, he would have to face her subordinates, and that will not be easy. So she tells him to stay loyal to her because, as an arms dealer, she can teach him how to hang out with other players in the weapon business and help him with his revenge. In response, Jonas simply asks her why she sells weapons, and Coco replies that it is for world peace. Later that night, Jonas is sleeping in one corner of Coco's room when someone approaches him. Out of habit, he immediately pulls out the Glock, but the man tells him to relax. He says that it is his turn to stay on watch because he is feeling sleepy now. Jonas goes outside and joins the old smoker Liam on night duty. He asks the old man why a veteran like him is working under a young bitch, and Liam replies that it is because this place is fun. He says that everyone here has their reasons to work for her, and she is an excellent leader as well. Just then, the door opens, and Coco comes out lurching like a zombie, and Liam tells her that the bathroom is the opposite way, and now Jonas doesn't trust what Liam just said about her. The next day, Coco tells everyone about an emergency early in the morning. Another weapon dealer is trying to ship some dismantled combat helicopters through the city, probably because he was inspired by their heist the other day. Coco would have no problem with that, but the issue is that the headquarters have ordered her her to stop the deal. She freaks out, because if they fail this mission, it will mean a pay cut for her. She starts rolling on the table to vent out her nervousness, and then says that they will head out and deal with the weapon merchant. She tells the nerd, and the eye-patched chick calls Val to talk with the Air Force officials, and assigns 4 men under Liam to act as her backup. The 2 remaining people are to stay back and coordinate things, while Jonas is going to come with her to talk to their rival. They head out, and Coco gives Jonas a spare gun because he may need it later. She informs him that the man they are going to meet is a big-shot weapon dealer from Europe, and he is a real pain in the ass. She signals her backup team to go ahead and hunt the enemies, and they turn into a bunch of bloodthirsty hunters. In the meantime, Coco tells Jonas that today he is not coming along as a soldier, but her younger brother, and tells him to keep playing along until she gives the signal. They soon reach the apartment of the arms dealer named Klosh, who welcomes them in despite knowing that Coco is his rival. He asks about Jonas, and when he learns that he is her brother, Klosh asks if he is adopted. Coco starts talking business with him, while the nerd and Val are negotiating with a colonel to cancel the deal. Jonas calls them to take updates in front of Klosh, who tells her that it is useless because she can't win against him this time. He gets up to prepare coffee, and Coco tells him that he has interfered in her turf, so he should be ready to get shot. Klosh gets angry on hearing this and slams the coffee pot on her head, and Jonas immediately pulls out his gun. Coco stops him before he can shoot, and Klosh takes the gun from his hand and starts removing the bullets. He says that his snipers are watching them, and if they hurt him, Coco's head will blow up. However, that was all anticipated, and Coco winks at Jonas to tell him that everything is going according to plan. After some time, Klosh tells Coco to go back because it is time for him to watch some anime, but she calls him a degenerate who doesn't have any time left to live. She tells him to tell his snipers to shoot her if he dares, and Klosh contacts them, only for Liam to pick up the call. Coco's backup team has wiped out all the snipers, and at the same time, the nerd has made the Air Force colonel cancel his contract with Klosh. The arms dealer can't believe this, and then Coco tells Jonas to give him a ticket to the afterlife. After shooting the guy, Jonas goes to check on Coco and finds that her wound is just superficial. She tells him not to mind it as she clings to him and says they should head back now. The next day, Coco and her team set out to meet Nerd and Val, who are in another city, but she can't reach them. She tries calling the headquarters to solve this issue, but they also can't do anything. Coco is pissed now, and what irritates her even more is that some Border Patrol Forces cars are driving dangerously close to them. She thinks that they won't be able to do anything to them when suddenly, one of the cars blows up and the explosion almost hits their convoy. Coco immediately heads outside to see what is wrong, and to her horror, the city they were supposed to go to has become a war zone. Liam can tell that 2 groups are fighting for the control of an oil pipeline there and hands over a binocular to Coco to check the particulars. She finds that all the cell phone towers and even satellite transmission sites have been destroyed, which is why they were not able to reach Val. While Coco is throwing a tantrum about it, some soldiers move around their group. However, they are not enemies but clients, and their leader, Major Pollock, apologizes to Coco for the rude actions of his men earlier. They sit down to talk business, and Coco asks the Major when the town turned into a war zone. He tells her that it happened just 8 hours ago, and the army officer who was originally posted here ran with his tail between his legs. Just from that, Coco knows that the situation here is quite bad, and the Major is going to order a lot of weapons from her. She wants to get out of this place just as he signs the documents, but then another one of her rivals arrives there. The fat-ass man named Curry has come here from England to deliver some anti-aircraft missiles to the army, and Coco is not happy to see his ugly mug. She doesn't want to stay next to this stinky old man, and decides to leave as soon as Pollock signs the deal with her. However, he asks her to stop because he has to order one more thing. He says that their radar got destroyed last night, and they absolutely need another. Curry says that he doesn't have access to anything that big, and Coco says that it is the same with her. She wants to leave before things turn tricky, but Curry tells her not to lie. He knows that Coco's dad was a big shot in the Navy, and her company is connected to various major suppliers. He believes that she can supply Pollock with a radar or 2, and Coco realizes that the old man is here to use them as a scapegoat. She suddenly starts dancing like an idiot for no fucking reason, while saying that she can't give him a radar. Pollock suddenly orders his soldiers to surround her, and Coco's team also gets ready to fight back. However, she tells everyone to stop because it is pointless to kill each other here when a war is being waged right next to them. She confronts Pollock, saying that she knows how ruthless he is despite looking like a nice guy. He tells her that it is a soldier's job to win wars, and as an arms dealer, it is her job to supply him with weapons. He leaves with that, telling Coco to get the radar ready, and the sly old fox Curry also leaves. When they are left alone, Liam asks Coco what they are going to do now, and she throws some gang signs to tell everyone about their plan. After that, she starts talking shit about Pollock, saying that he wants to pay for the radar after he wins the war, but she is not going to accept credit even from her biological dad. The next day, Coco and her group are ready to leave the war-torn area, and Pollock tells her that once they cross the pass in front of them, her satellite phone will start to work again. He assigns 2 of his elite soldiers to act as her escorts, but Coco knows that they are supposed to keep her on a leash. Just 10 minutes after they start driving, one soldier starts trash-talking Coco, but she remains calm no matter how angry the soldier gets because Jonas is in the backseat with his gun loaded. Soon they reach the foggy pass, and their satellite phone starts working again. Coco gives Jonas the phone to contact the nerd, and even though it connects, the nerd doesn't pick up the call. Suddenly, 2 Russian combat helicopters fly above them, and Coco immediately tells everyone to get down. They see the helicopters shooting someone in the distance and an anti-aircraft missile missing them. Once the helicopters retreat, Jonas asks her, why doesn't she just sell weapons to Pollock? Coco tells him that her intuition says that this war is going to end in just 2 days without any side winning. While the Russian troops don't have enough manpower to focus on all the fronts they are currently fighting at, the major doesn't have enough money to fund his ambition. That is why she thinks that both sides are going to back down soon. While other weapon dealers would immediately supply anything Pollock needs, she is not interested in doing business in such a condition. Soon, Coco leads her group to a forest, telling the soldiers that this is where she is going to supply them with weapons. But it turns out that she had relayed her location to Val and Nerd already, and they were on standby here. On Coco's signal, they jump down on the 2 soldiers and tie them up. At the same time, one of Curry's guards gets pissed by the soldier escorting her and slashes him, and her partner has no choice but to shoot the other guy to save their boss. Curry curses the girl for giving in to her instincts and killing the people who were supposed to lead them out of this war zone. But then he calms down and decides to take shelter till things become a bit better. Soon, Coco's group arrives at an abandoned building, and to their surprise, it is the same one where Curry and his group are hiding. Coco makes herself comfortable in the building and playfully asks Curry what he is doing here. He tells her that the stupid bitch with him killed the soldiers escorting them because he was a Tate fan, and now they have to run for their lives. Coco is shocked to hear this and tells him that they just tied their soldiers up and left them in the forest, but she is sure that Pollock is going to send more soldiers after them. Meanwhile, the crazy bitch Milda is completely unfazed by the outcome of her actions, and she goes to Val to challenge her to a knife fight. Val tries to ignore her, but then Coco orders her to keep watch outside and take Milda with her. Once they are outside, Milda decides to use the darkness and Val's limited field of view to win against her, but she gets her ass kicked, and then Val lectures her about how she thinks having more knives would make her better at using them. She keeps lecturing her all the way, but that is Milda's kink, and she asks Val to become her mommy girlfriend. Val refuses because she can only get wet for Coco, when suddenly Milda senses some enemy soldiers coming towards them, and immediately runs to the hideout to inform everyone. Coco's group immediately gets their weapons ready and tells Curry that she is going to hold off the soldiers while his group escapes, but then he is going to owe her a huge favor. Curry is glad to accept that offer, but as soon as Coco and her group get outside, she orders her men to lower their weapons and take out their magazines. She surrenders to the soldiers and tells them that the people who killed their colleagues are inside, freaking Curry out. The soldiers surround the abandoned building, and a firefight ensues between them and Curry's group. The soldier in charge of the group decides to let Coco and her group pass away this time, and she tells everyone to run as fast as they can. Jonas finds this amusing and starts laughing, saying that this is the first time he has gotten away from a battlefield without firing a single bullet. Soon, their group reaches the airport to leave the country, and Coco sees the news that the conflict between the Russian army and Pollock's soldiers has already stopped. Just as she gets her passport stamped, Curry and his guards also come there, panting and sweating, and Coco says it's a good thing that they made it out alive. Soon, they reach another country, where Coco and the nerd start teaching the illiterate Jonas everything he needs to live as a civilized human. However, his pea-sized brain only knows how to shoot his enemies, and he doesn't even care about studies. Instead, he is more interested in the pictures on Coco's tablet. She tells him that this is a list of hitmen that the headquarters sends to warn them from time to time. This time, they have sent information about a group called Orchestra, which contains only 2 members right now. Coco says that at its peak, Orchestra was a really badass group that could go toe-to-toe with the police force, but then most of their members die. Jonas asks Coco if the hitmen are targeting her, and she affirms. She tells him that arms dealers make a lot of enemies, so it is expected, and she doesn't need to worry about everything because her team will protect her. She starts laughing at some inside joke with the nerd, and the rest of their crew tries to see what's so funny. Coco lectures them about snooping around, but they have no other job to do right now. Suddenly, Val asks Coco on a date, and she agrees. Val's mood worsens when Coco says they should take Jonas as the third wheel, but then she decides to let him study some more. However, just as the girls leave, Jonas tells the nerd that he is going to use the bathroom. Time passes and he doesn't come out, so the nerd barges into the bathroom, only to find a thank you note from Jonas, who has run away to the city. Nearby, the two assassins from the group called Orchestra are also searching for their next target. The veteran hitman tells the girl named Chinatsu to get rid of the ugly hat she is wearing because that is blocking her vision. However, the girl can't throw it away because it is a gift from him. Suddenly, she notices Jonas sitting by the street, and she is immediately smitten by him. She tells her master that she saw a cute boy whom she wants to adopt. But by the time she turns around, Jonas is gone. Meanwhile, Val takes Coco out shopping for watches because she knows she is interested in stuff like that. Val enters the store to buy it for her. And just then, the assassin named Chinatsu comes there and grabs Coco's hand, telling her that she is going to die a pitiful death today because of selling weapons. Coco already knows that the girl is from Orchestra, and she yells at her, saying that a lowly assassin doesn't get to lecture her about anything. On hearing her voice, Val immediately rushes outside to help Coco. But Chinatsu's mentor is also ready for action. He shoots Coco, but then Jonas leaps out of the sky and saves her. While Val keeps Chinatsu busy, Jonas and Coco hide behind a corner, and Val hides behind a pillar as the crazy assassin keeps shooting at her. She was shocked to see Jonas jump from the sky to interfere in their plan. And she is jealous of Coco because she wanted to keep him for herself. Behind the corner, Coco kisses Jonas for saving her and asks why did he follow her. He replies that he has seen her smiling in dangerous situations before, and that is why he knew something was wrong when she went out smiling. In the meantime, Chinatsu takes out a mini rocket launcher to blow them away. The police arrive there just then, and the crazy blows the police car first. Her mentor shoots down the remaining policemen and tells Chinatsu to keep the pressure on their target. Meanwhile, Val picks up a shield from a fallen policeman and heads towards Coco. She keeps shooting at the assassins and manages to injure the man's arm, which makes him angry, and he shoots back with a high-powered assault rifle that pierces through the shield and injures Val's leg. She falls to the ground to avoid being shot further and crawls to Coco's side. Luckily, Liam is also at the site, and though he has a clear shot at the veteran assassin, this imbecile decides to call for backup instead of quickly wrapping up the job. On the other side, Jonas keeps shooting at the assassins to cover for the girls, but when he thinks that it is not working, he charges ahead like a suicidal idiot. He keeps shooting at the main assassin, and this guy who has probably learned shooting from Stormtrooper Academy can't hit the boy who is running in a straight line towards him. They are about to get close when suddenly, Jonas's leg is tangled by a rope, and he gets dragged away by Liam. Chinatsu also stops her boss from shooting him because she plans to groom Jonas into her boy toy. Jonas gets pulled to safety by Liam, and he kicks him for interfering with his plan. He says that he almost had the enemies, and the old guy tells him that the only thing he was going to have was a bullet through his head. He tells Jonas that his way of fighting is naive and stupid because they don't fight to death. They fight to kill their enemies in a one-sided fashion. Liam then tells Jonas to take Coco to safety while he keeps the enemy busy. Jonas grabs Coco's hand and runs away, and Liam tries to fire some surprise shots at the assassins with his .45 caliber bullets. But Chinatsu has got good instincts, and she blocks them with the shield. Her boss is pissed because Liam is using a silencer, and he declares that real men should make music when they use guns. Liam just laughs at him while he keeps emptying his magazines, saying that he is cracked in the head. The assassin soon runs out of ammo, and Chinatsu is the same, so they throw the shield and run away to their car, exposing their backs like idiots, but Liam doesn't bother to shoot them. The two assassins get in their cars to chase after Coco, and they plan to use even more powerful guns this time. Meanwhile, Liam supports the injured Val as they head out, and they both agree that Chinatsu is more skilled than her boss, and if they can separate the two, they will be easier to beat. Soon after that, Coco's team also arrives there, and Liam helps Val get into the car and asks the nerd to support him. The nerd has already located Coco on the map, so he leads Liam to her. Coco and Jonas are running on the beach, where Jonas complains that weapon dealers like her are the reason the assassins have access to weapons, and he can't forgive anyone involved in this business. Coco laughs because this is the first time Jonas has put his feelings into words, but she decides to give him an answer after they are out of danger. Meanwhile, the two assassins are ready to shoot her down with a heavy machine gun mounted on their car. They are almost at Coco's location, but luckily, her friends also arrive there. They use their car as a shield to protect Coco while exchanging bullets with the assassin. But then one of them notices the M2 Browning machine gun mounted inside the car. The assassins drive ahead to prepare it, and Coco's teammate tells her about the weapon their enemies are packing. Even she freaks out on learning about the heavy machine gun, and just then, the assassins return. They point the gun inside the car at Coco, and Chinatsu pulls the trigger while controlling the wheel. Jonas jumps into the sea with Coco while their car gets riddled by bullets and then stands on its head after colliding with a hydrant. When the assassins see that Coco is not there, they get out of the car to scout the area. Jonas and Coco come out of the sea, and he tries to see if the assassins are nearby. He almost gets his head shot off, but then fires back, hitting Chinatsu's special cap that her mentor gave her. She panics and tells him that they should retreat because it is a bad omen, but he replies that it is stupid to believe in superstitions. To make her believe his words, he goes out in the open, only to get shot in the chest by a sniper. He falls to his knees, and then the sniper from Coco's team shoots him in the head, ending his life swiftly. Chinatsu is devastated on seeing her master dead, and she swears to avenge him one day, no matter how long it takes. Chinatsu clearly remembers the day she met her boss and mentor. She was enjoying the opera with her rich parents when the man walked into the hall and shot the singer because he wasn't enjoying her performance. The only thing he enjoyed was guns, so he began shooting the people without discrimination. Chinatsu survived by being buried under the corpses of her parents, but when the assassin finally ended his killing spree, she picked up a gun and shot him. She was terrified but stood firm in front of him, and the assassin kissed her on the cheek because he liked anyone who could take up a gun and fire. Anyway, Coco tells Jonas that their sniper shot the man from at least 1 kilometer away. She wonders if Chinatsu is going to enter his line of fire as well. The sniper is waiting for that too, but Liam is sure that he will not be able to shoot Chinatsu. She comes out in the open, but the sniper hesitates because she is just a teenager. Instead, he decides to destroy the LMG the assassin was using so she can't fight. Chinatsu is startled by the gunshots, but she picks up her master's cross and starts running away, dodging the gunfire and escaping on a truck. Amidst all this, Coco is the only one who got a clear glimpse of the slice of heaven between the girl's legs because she wasn't wearing anything underneath. Soon, a police car comes there, and a blonde asshole comes out and tells Coco that she is under arrest for all the heinous things she has done. Coco asks him who the hell is he because he is not a policeman, and he tells her that it shouldn't matter to her. Jonas asks her what they should do now, and this piece of kicks him into the water for talking in between. Coco immediately raises her fist and waves it to give a signal to her team, and then gives the man a death stare. Once they reach the police station, the office there puts the blonde man in an interrogation cell because he pushed away the policeman sent alongside him earlier. However, since he is an agent from the CIA, he doesn't take any action for him. The blonde goes by the codename Scarecrow, and he asks the police officer to hand over Coco and all the recordings of the gunfight over to him. But the officer asks him which gunfight he is talking about. At the same time, Coco is in the police commander's office, who is an old friend of her father. He decides to let her go without any action, but says that her group is being held in the hotel for some days just so he can save face. Meanwhile, Scarecrow throws a tantrum with the police officer, telling him that there was enough recording of the gunfight to make a decent Hollywood movie. He starts suspecting that the police officers are letting Coco escape through a back door. He runs out of the room to stop her, and to his surprise, she is being escorted out of the front door. He rushes to her and punches her in the face for making him look like an idiot, and the policemen immediately restrain him. Coco wipes off the blood and says that she has no time to waste on nobodies like him, but Scarecrow keeps yelling that he will hunt her down one day. Coco says that he is the second person to tell him this, but as soon as she exits the police station, she freezes because she has no one to guard her today because everyone is locked in the hotel. Luckily, Jonas is here because the policeman let him out, thinking he was just a kid. He asks Coco what happened to her face, but she tells him it is nothing, and then happily clings to him as they head back. 3 days have passed, and Coco's team is still held back in the hotel. At night, Chinatsu climbs up to the rooftop to get her vengeance, but she is shocked when she hears Coco's voice telling her to keep her weapon down because she is going to be shot before she can even take aim. Chinatsu realizes that she is being targeted by Liam, but he is so good that she can't even tell where he is. So she drops her gun and Coco gets down, telling her that she predicted that her impatient ass would try to sneak through the building to attack her. She came here because she was impressed by her skills and wants her to join her team for the sake of world peace. Chinatsu is stunned by her tall ideals, but she declares that she will never work with her master's killers. She takes out another gun to attack Coco, but instantly, her hand is shot, and the next bullet pierces her guts. Chinatsu falls to the ground, and Coco holds her in her last moments before the light goes out of her eyes. Meanwhile, the blonde sniper of the team had come to Liam's location, and he is not happy that he shot a girl. Liam tells him that he once lost 5 comrades to a cutie like her, so he doesn't take any chances. After that, Coco calls her headquarters and tells them that the group called Orchestra has been eliminated, and Jonas hears it from the corner where he was hiding in case Coco needed some extra help. Soon, Coco's group is finally free to move, and they take a boat to try out some new weapons. Jonas watches the boys try the LMG from the distance, thinking how his hatred for guns has not decreased even a bit. But every time he talks to Coco, it seems like she is bewitching him. Just then, Coco and Val come there to enjoy the sun. Coco tells Jonas that they are here to receive some of their cargo, and when she gets a call on her walkie-talkie, that freaks her out. Her elder brother is coming to deliver the cargo himself, so she asks one of her teammates to hide Jonas from him, which makes one think that her brother is going to be a racist. The guy takes Jonas to a room and starts teaching him English, while Coco's brother Casper comes with some anti-tank missiles. Casper makes her uncomfortable by bringing up her arrest and then changes the topic to a Chinese arms dealer in Africa, which is where Coco's group is heading. He warns her that the Chinese arms dealer is one nasty guy, and Coco says that he must be really bad if Casper is the one saying it. Casper just laughs it off and then goes to the toilet. And at the same time, Jonas also heads to the toilet as well. On the way, Casper runs into the guy who was teaching Jonas, and he freaks out on realizing why Coco had told him to hide the boy. Casper enters the bathroom and proceeds with his business after taking a peek at Jonas's thing, and just as Jonas concludes his business, he suddenly lunges at him with a knife. Casper's bodyguard quickly stops him, but Jonas struggles as he yells out Casper's name. The bodyguard twists Jonas's knife with her bare hands, telling him that a puny weapon like this won't be able to cut the cucumber she used last night and tells him to get something better the next time. Casper is done with his business now, and he greets Jonas, saying that it has been 3 months since they last met. 3 months ago, Jonas was a servant and a soldier in an army camp in a war-torn location in Africa. One of Casper's underlings was there to talk business with a local army commander, and he decided to take Jonas's friends away. Jonas offered to go in his friend's place, but he was thrashed for speaking out of turn. In the end, his friends never returned, and Jonas knew that the cruel fatty used her to step over landmines to clear the area. He was enraged and desired revenge. That night, he taped a knife to one hand and a gun to another as he headed out to kill the weapon dealer who was the cause of his friend's death. He began killing the soldiers in the dark of the night, and no one could even see him as he shot them down. One by one, he killed everyone in his way till he finally reached the arms dealer, who offered him money, but all Jonas wanted was revenge. He killed the man and then decided to leave the base, when suddenly he felt an intense killing intent. He became highly alert, but then a smoke bomb blocked his view, and a skilled warrior appeared behind him. She knocked him down and took him to her boss, Casper. Casper asked Jonas who he was and why he killed everyone. On learning that he did it to avenge his friend who died because of the arms dealer, Casper asked him if he was satisfied. He told Jonas that even though his actions got everyone in the base killed, he should not pay it any mind because things like this are common in war. Casper then told Jonas that he doesn't mind getting his subordinate killed because he was not really good at his job, and their plan was to actually get rid of this base to lay a military-only road that will bring a lot of money to him. Jonas is devastated to learn that his friend died because some wanted to make a road, and Casper saw potential in him. He could tell that Jonas was not someone who enjoyed fighting, but he thought that fear and anger would make him stronger. So he told him that he was going to pay for killing his men, and the only thing that came to Jonas's mind at that time was that Casper was going to kill his remaining friends. He struggled to get close, but Casper's bodyguard threw him in a container. Jonas was trapped there for days with nothing but water, and soon, morbid thoughts started flooding his mind. Back to the present, Coco kicks her brother out of her boat for bullying Jonas, while the boy swears that one day he is going to kill Casper. Later he tells his sob story to Coco, who apologizes on her brother's behalf and hugs him gently. A few days later, their ship has reached the near African coastline, and there are many things stirring up their emotions. Val has a dark history in Africa, and Liam goes to tell her that he will be there to back her up if she ever falters. Meanwhile, Jonas is ditching class and goes to the highest point in the ship to enjoy the view. His peaceful moments are interrupted by the horrible memories of the time he came out of the container after days of starving. Casper told him that he was the one who sold weapons to the people who killed his parents, and in his rage, the weakened Jonas rushed to bite him, but all he could do was cry. Casper told him that killing him right now would be a waste, so they should work together. Jonas asked him about his remaining friends, and Casper replied that they were in his custody. Jonas asked him to let them have a peaceful life, and Casper promised to send them to a place free of war and conflict. But in exchange, Jonas had to work as a personal bodyguard for his sister. Back to the present, Coco's ship is attacked by pirates, and she is furious that these small fries don't know who they are messing with. One pirate tells her to stop the ship if they don't want to get attacked, but Coco just laughs at their audacity. However, it turns out that the pirates have some advanced weapons as well, including a combat helicopter. Jonas spots another boat coming from the other direction, so Coco asks the big guy to deal with them using a rocket launcher. The helicopter gets close to them, but one guy was hiding under a cloth, waiting for it to come close. Just as the helicopter is in his range, he reveals himself and shoots it down using his minigun. In the meantime, the big guy shoots down the boat, and Jonas stays alert for any suspicious movement. He feels someone coming closer and finds that it is a boy his age who is trying to sneak in through a rope. On the other side, Liam destroys the helicopter for good, causing the remaining pirates to flee. Soon, everyone comes to the backside of the ship, where they find that Jonas has been in a fistfight with the pirate boy he caught. He complains that the boy punched him even though he saved him, and everyone starts laughing at him. Coco decides to free the boy and then pushes him into the water with a floater, telling him to swim to the shore and never risk his life doing something stupid again. On the other hand, the full Scarecrow is also in Africa, dealing with the Chinese weapon dealer named Chen that Casper was talking about. While Chen operates a legit company to cover his gun business, Scarecrow claims he can sniff money better than sharks smell blood, and he wants his cut from Chen's business. Chen keeps a poker face while acting completely calm. And then Scarecrow gets a call from his informer. He goes outside to talk and tells Chen to not even think of going outside because his macho bodyguard won't allow him. However, Chen's secretary goes to the guard, flashes him, and then proceeds to beat the shit out of him when he has his guard down. Chen tells her not to kill the man because he doesn't want any unnecessary problems, and they decide to head out. The old Chinese man thinks that Casper is the one who tipped Scarecrow about him, and he plans to deal with him sooner or later. At the same time, Coco and her party reach Africa to meet her old friend called Minami, who is a leading expert in robotics with a fanatic passion for chasing butterflies. Coco has a feeling that Minami won't come to meet her today, and she is right, as instead of Minami, her assistant comes to apologize. Coco already understands that her friend has gone off to chase butterflies again. After that, the assistant tells her about the old man Chen and his charming secretary, who often visit Minami and take her out to dinner. The assistant is worried that Minami might be getting involved with some dangerous people because she doesn't talk at all about Chen or their meetings. The woman then gives Coco the location where Minami went, while Jonas is busy staring at the tanks on display. Coco approaches him and asks if he understands where they are, and he replies that it is a weapon expo. They go inside, where they find Curry and his team. Coco starts talking with Curry, but then he suddenly takes his leave along with everyone else in the place as Chen arrives. Coco is taken aback to see him, but she greets him nicely and acts friendly as he invites her to dinner tonight. Once Chen leaves, Coco passes the note with Minami's location to Liam and tells her to protect her while she deals with Chen. However, the old man also knows that Coco's unit is on the move, so he sends his secretary Karen to get Minami before them. At night, Liam leads the group to the snow-covered mountains where Minami is trekking to find a place where rare butterflies are found. Jen's secretary, Karen, is also there with her troops, and she has an old score to settle with Casper, who was responsible for the deaths of her underlings in the past. She decides to set up an ambush for Coco's team, but with his sharp senses, Jonas can tell the exact number of the enemies around them. However, he can't tell their location, so he starts screaming at the soldiers, calling their mama a as he shoots randomly. Just as he stops, one of the Chinese soldiers decides to fire back, revealing his location. Everyone is impressed that Jonas's dumb plan worked because the enemy was dumber. But Karen is not happy that her idiot soldiers messed up their ambush, so she draws her pistols that have bayonets attached to them and shoots the idiot who dared to open fire. Val was keeping an eye on them using her sniper scope, but as she sees the silhouette of Karen holding the pistols with a bayonet, her eye wound starts throbbing as she recalls the day she lost it. It was a hot day in the desert, and Val had already lost all her comrades to the enemy, who was wielding the same weapons. Now, she drops her weapon as the thirst for revenge overwhelms her. She grins menacingly and suddenly starts doing the Naruto run towards the enemies, and Liam tells everyone to give her cover fire. Meanwhile, Karen has dealt with the idiot soldiers, and she gets ready to face Val. They shoot each other from like 20 feet away, but both these girls may have been stormtroopers in their previous lives because not a single bullet hits the enemy. In the end, they decide to settle things through close combat instead. Even from this point-blank range, they are able to dodge each other's shots, and after Karen manages to disarm Val, she is sure that this fighting style belongs to the same man who annihilated her unit years ago. She thinks Karen is a clue who will lead him to that man, and she starts attacking her in earnest. Meanwhile, other members of the team are trying to shoot down the Chinese soldiers. Jonas notices that they look out of their zone and informs Liam that instead of firing, they should all pretend to be dead. The Chinese soldiers are not used to fighting in the mountains, so they will probably take the bait and come searching for them, and then it will be easy to deal with them. Liam likes the idea, and the firing suddenly stops, making the Chinese soldiers think that they won. They come outside of their hiding spot, and Liam effortlessly snipes them all down with headshots. Furious that she lost all her men, Karen blindly charges at Val, who dodges all her attacks and then cuts off a nerve that renders her one arm useless. Even then, she manages to deal some damage to Val, who doesn't stop and attacks her thigh next. She tells Karen that she is weak, and then suddenly, the horrifying visuals of the day she lost her team come back to her. She is about to spiral down into depression, but Liam comes there and snaps her out of it. He tells her that they should forget this girl and get going to fulfill their main mission. But Val says that she knows her past. Liam asks if she is going to capture and torture this girl like gangsters do, and Val decides to let her go this time. She tells Karen that she was like her one time too and asks her to give up fighting and go raise children like a normal woman. On the other hand, Coco is enjoying a fine Chinese dinner with Chen, and her only guard is the fatty driver who is on his edge trying to look out for her. Scarecrow is also there, along with a girl who has bugged the room with Coco and Chen. He is waiting for them to talk about some weapon deal, but all they talk about is food, irritating them. Soon, Coco gets too drunk and starts talking about random things, and Chen tries to get her to join hands with him as fellow arms dealers, but she refuses. After that, she goes to the washroom, and Scarecrow sends the girl to spy on her there. But to the girl's surprise, Coco climbs into her stall and tells her that if she doesn't want to die, she should pass her message to Scarecrow. The girl immediately returns and tells Scarecrow that Chen is really dangerous and he is trying to kill Coco. He doesn't care about that. But when the girl says that if Coco dies, they won't be able to take any money from her, the capitalist inside the Scarecrow awakens, and he decides to help her. At the same time, Chen gets a call from Karen, and he is furious on learning that she lost. Just after that, Coco takes her leave, and once she goes out, Chen gets so angry that he breaks his chair by slamming it against the furniture, but that only causes him to fall down. Meanwhile, his assistant talks to the snipers to kill Coco and everyone helping her. Coco scoffs as she hears this, and then she exits the hotel to find Scarecrow waiting for her with a helicopter. They take the helicopter to escape safely, and Chen is left defeated on every front. The next morning on the mountains, Minami is catching butterflies when she suddenly finds Jonas staring at her from behind the bushes. She freaks out but soon realizes that he is with Coco's team. They bring her back to meet Coco. But when Coco finally wakes up after her hangover wears out, she learns that Minami has again left on some excursion to research shellfish this time. Coco is dejected that her value is lower than shellfish for Minami, but then she gets a note from her saying that she has almost completed the basic theory of their project. That is enough for Coco, and she decides to head to England next.